your debts are cancelled, and so are your taxes. I'm about to share with you why these statements are true, but if you want to know more, you can get a free copy of my book, Know Your Financial Rights. It's one of 3 books in this volume, Battle Manuals for Freedom, and I'll give you the link in this video. To begin with, what is money? This stuff, this paper, is not money, it's currency. There's nothing backing it, no gold, no silver. It's worthless, it's a fiction. So stop calling currency money. Suppose I set myself up as a bank, and then I get to write some arbitrary numbers on pieces of paper, and then get you to give me your real labor, your real time, and your real creativity to get some of it. What have I done? I have taken your 3-dimensional life and flattened you into a 2-dimensional fiction. And then I heap even more burdens on you by diluting the power of this fake stuff by printing as much as I want, and then taxing you on it, and making you pay interest on it so that you end up giving me even more of your 3-dimensional life and time and labor in return for nothing. What a sweet deal for me. And I may conjure a digital currency too, just a number on a computer screen, so that again, I convert your real 3-dimensional labor into meaningless digits. So let's begin with talking about taxes and why they are cancelled. For you to have any obligation to a taxing so-called authority, be it the IRS or HMRC or any other, they need to be in contract with you. Did you sign a contract telling one of these false authorities that you agree to file and pay taxes for the rest of your life? Furthermore, under the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, 1998, funding genocide is defined as a crime against humanity, not just doing genocide, but funding it too. The government pretending to have authority in your nation is guilty of genocide. It has sent armies or weapons or funding to bomb, steal, mutilate, rape, and kill other peoples. And even if it hasn't done these things, it has still perpetrated genocide in your own nation through medical poisons. So, paying taxes is a criminal act. Now maybe if you're a Christian you'll say, but Abdiel, the Apostle Paul says to pay your taxes. No, he doesn't. What you're referring to there is what I call the Tyrant's Charter of Romans 13, 1-7. Paul never wrote it. It was crowbarred in later. How do I know this? Because it's in direct contradiction to everything else he wrote. The very idea that you would submit to a false authority of men instead of the true authority of Jesus Christ is preposterous. I don't know who inserted that passage or when, but it is falsely attributed to Paul and therefore slandering him. So your mistaken notion of civic duty or civic righteousness has nothing to do with the true righteousness of being in Christ. So what are the solutions? You stop paying taxes. And if you're told you have to pay, ask for evidence of your informed consent to do so. And if they provide some signature from a prior tax year, you say, that applies to that year, but henceforth my consent is revoked. Or you could write back and tell them you will pay on condition that they provide proof that no tax receipts are being used to fund genocide, a condition they never fulfill because they can't. Now, what about debts, loan agreements, mortgages, etc.? Why are these also cancelled? Remember that currency is just numbers written on a piece of paper. Similarly, a loan agreement, a piece of paper with numbers on it combined with your signature, is also currency. If I'm a bank, I can take your signed piece of paper and trade with it for profit, and then on top of that get you to pay interest on it and repay the principal, so that you're paying me at least twice over. Now you might say that it's a fiction to call your piece of paper currency, but the point is the whole thing is a fiction. Where it becomes real is when the banker takes all this two-dimensional stuff that was obtained by flattening your life and converts it back into three-dimensional things for himself or herself, like houses, land, yachts, swimming pools, wine collections, racehorses, and so on. That's how the banking system operates, brothers and sisters, and it's one of the many frauds perpetrated against you to bleed you dry all of your life. So what is the solution to debt? You can expose the fraud and get the debt written off. Or you can pay off your fictional debt by issuing your own currency, known as promissory notes. Also, if there is a switch to a digital-only currency, whether it's a central bank digital currency or some kind of crypto, that will automatically cancel your debts because the bank is now telling you to pay off your loan with a different currency from the one you supposedly borrowed in. That is retrospectively changing the contract, which they cannot do. And don't worry about national debt and the so-called debt clock either. That's a psyop. It's all fictional stuff designed to get you to think that you and your heirs are permanently enslaved. But one sliver of gold, such as this goldback, pays off the entire national debt because the gold is real while the debt is a fiction. And consider who ran up those supposed national debts. Politicians and bureaucrats. They took all those taxes from you and still managed to blow the budget and borrow more in your name. But if politicians and bureaucrats ran up the debt, then it's their job, not yours, to repay it. And to whom is that supposed debt owed? To banks. Do you care if the banks get paid? If we're talking render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, then it is Caesar's debt and Caesar can pay himself. And what about inflation? How do you cancel that? It stops when we pay each other and transact with each other in real money, such as silver or goldbacks. So as I said, all this is set out in my book, Know Your Financial Rights, which is the third book in this volume, Battle Manuals for Freedom. You can get the ebooks free at poetprophet.com, or better yet, buy a paperback and support my work. Much love, Abdiel Leroy.